Welcome to the Grumpy Men 2020. That's right.
Here we are. Yes, sir. We back at it again. I don't know, it's been a minute.
Word.
We back
you asked
at
for it. We're coming back at you. We here. We in the building. We got a lot to talk about too. Seems
and
like
there's been a lot going on.
Word. We out here. All major platforms: Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube, iTunes. Whatever. Like we everywhere. But yeah, a lot has happened. Since we last been on. But one thing that did take place. Let's go right in. This week. Okay, we know last week, was the passing of Kobe Bryant. And, when you start dealing with, I'm going to call him a celebrity. When you start dealing with celebrity and entertainment and sports figures, who are iconic, when they pass, they have, the legacy is out there. What have you done? You were loved and revered. Your image is out there. What people saw from you. And then you have the people who, no matter how clean your image may be, no matter what you have done for your community or whatever type of father you are, whatever parent, they have people that's ready to tear your shit down. And, more recently, within the past, I'd say 10 years, it's just been a lot of tearing down of, I'm going to say black men, Now, we use the term black, we talking to everybody right now. We need to put that out there. But black people in particular, we have been getting ripped down, for centuries. So we kind of used to it. We kind of been rolling with the flow. It's not a good thing. We've been holding it down, but it just seems like in the past 10 years, it's, more longer than that, but it's fresh in my memory. They've, the media has been using, black women, to bring down black men, or these movements are been aimed at black men, the Me Too movement, whatever. It's disturbing. And, if you saw the full Gayle King interview that was aired with Lisa Leslie, and she asked her about, basically, her relationship, with Kobe, them being friends, or how does she feel about, him being his rape charge, and yes, he was acquitted.
So he had a complicated past.
A complicated past. Okay, so let's start there. A complicated past. Who the fuck doesn't have a complicated past? Everybody got a complicated past. I don't know. I mean, it seems like that old saying, don't throw stones at a glass house. It seems to apply here. Like, complicated past. If you're going to keep it real, if you want to be respected as a journalist, then keep it all the way real. Like, don't throw out cliche bullshit. Like, get to the point. He had a complicated past. What was complicated? Why are you asking Lisa Leslie, a black woman, about a complicated past of somebody who's not even here to defend themselves, when you have years to interview Kobe Bryant? The man been in the media since he retired more than when he was playing. He's been a public figure. He's been out there. You see the stuff that he's done. Especially in terms of,
done all kinds of shit.
Oh, right, damn. He won the Oscar, like, shit. Like, that was a perfect opportunity to interview him. Like, it's not like, we're talking about a 13, 14-year-old rape charge that went away. So why are you talking about it now?
I mean, it's a few reasons you can think. I mean, you're chasing headlines, you're chasing ratings, money. There was a whole interview, but that was a clip portion that you took, that was taken, or as you're saying, that she's saying now, is that was taken by the network, and they posted it. That's what she's saying.
Okay.
But the whole thing is they wouldn't have that clip if you ain't even asked that. Like they don't have that. They don't have that. It's just another interview with Lisa Leslie. There is no clip. There is nothing. You asked that, so you can't blame the network. There's no way you putting that into context. You trying to put it in the context like, yo, it was a whole interview and they only took a clip. No. If you're gonna ask her, of course you're gonna ask her, how she feeling since Kobe passed, things like that. Those are questions that fit in line and get her best Kobe story and keep it pushing. You went for the, trying to take it that angle. Well, we're both women, and pretty much you were his friend. How did you feel about his, his complicated past or this thing? I mean, like that kind, and saying that, and when she gives you her answer, you're fighting her back and saying, well, you wouldn't have known that because he may not have shown you that and shit like that.
That shit infuriated me. That part of it, yeah.
So now when you come on and you give this apology or whatever you want to call it now, because you're getting major backlash, and it wasn't just that she's getting backlash from, the regular people on Twitter or Black Twitter and all this other stuff. So they don't care about that. That's not what they care about. But when you start getting backlash from your fellow entertainers, who you going to want to interview again, and they not going to fuck with you because of this, now you want to apologize. He's like, when we listen to her apology, she's like, I never done nothing like this. I don't do this, and while she's doing the video, but now you do it because you feel like, oh shit, I fucked up. People are taking this shit mad serious. Like you underestimated. I don't know if she underestimated how much Kobe meant to people and how much influence he had in people's lives, and how he pretty much for 20 years of playing basketball raised a whole nother generation of hoopers. Like, that you had the Jordan span, he raised his, whatever time he played, 17, 18, whatever years he played, 15. Mm-hmm. He raised those hoopers. Then Kobe took over because he was in that clone. And he raised them there for the next 20 years. He took those hoopers. Right. So I think she underestimated that, and she thought, she was going to get a different response, probably a more politically correct response from Lisa. And Lisa didn't give her that. She gave her, nah, she was holding him, Kobe, down, like, that's her people's. Like, she says, like, if that's your people, that's what you're going to do. Like, nah, I don't know nothing. I don't know that. I don't know no person like that, and I'm not saying nothing didn't happen, but it didn't happen that way. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
right.
That's not the way it happened.
Not the way you're trying to spin it.
Exactly. Not the way you're trying to say this. So, I think that's big. But I just feel like, like if you don't ask that question, then they can't take a clip out of it and post it. Of course they're gonna run with it. You work for CBS. They're trying to get headlines. This is a ratings competition. They're trying to get something over ABC, NBC, and all the rest of these networks that don't get a CNN. They got a clip, and this is what you said. They don't care if it's backlash or not. As long as people are going to their site and seeing that video, downloading and all that now, because of how the internet is set up. It's all about your trending. Gail's been trending. I mean, so her apology was definitely weak. That shit was weak. And then that shit was super corny. You get your billionaire friend is on TV copping a plea for you because she has a show tomorrow in Brooklyn with Michelle Obama. So she gives she plugging you, telling everybody how you ain't slept in 2 days and you got security and because people are threatening you. And I mean, Once again, if this is all true, I mean, I know we know people are mad,
right?
You know, and you know, this is you should have thought about that question. You know, that's a real sensitive topic, and you know, that brother passing is hitting people different. So you come out and you look like you attacking them the same way what you've already, you know, you and your buddy has already done to a few others. People get really sensitive about that now. Like, nah,
I mean, it's playing out that way.
You ain't gonna do my man. You ain't gonna, you know, that's how they looking at it. Like, you're not gonna do my man. My people's like that. Nah, we ain't messing with you. So when you hear these fellow entertainers now saying that now they got to go into damage control and try to spin it, because now Lisa Leslie come out as the excuse me. Lisa Leslie comes out as the winner, and you look like the straight villain, and the backlash is heavy, because your entertainer friends or entertainer people that know you and you may want to interview or you may want, they don't want to deal with you now.
Right.
They're offended by that. They hurt by that. You know?
And they should be.
And the thing that bothered me really was when she made her apology, she talked about how, you know, Kobe was a nice guy. You know, they hung out. They, you know, she knew him. You had all that time. You hung out with him. You've been around him to get his side of the story.
Okay.
Why didn't you ask him then?
Right. Because I didn't hear the apology, you know, in its entirety. You know, I got through a small portion of it, and I said, you know what? I don't give a fuck about her apology, because I think it's all, you know, it's all staged in terms of this shit ain't real. You know, yeah, you didn't expect the backlash. Yeah, you probably didn't. But it just contradicts, you know, the whole point of you even having that portion of the interview with Lisa Leslie. Why ask her that if you know that Kobe was a nice person, et cetera, et cetera? If you know all of that, then why are you going to ask his friend who hung out with him a little more than, you know, most people? Why would you ask her and about a rape charge that, you know, got thrown out eventually? Like, why bring that up? Why push back against Lisa Leslie when she's like, well, I don't know what happened, but it's not what you're putting it out to be, you know, and at the same time, all right, you interview R. Kelly, right? Mm-hmm. But you can't compare interviewing, like, okay, R. Kelly has a real deep-rooted history in pedophilia. Like, we know this. We've seen it. You know, and now it makes you think, you know, damn, when you go back and you listen to his music, like, well, shit, you know, maybe he was talking about youngins. Like, but see, his behavior would warrant that. But so now you're interviewing him. That's not the same. Like, people, we want you to ask hard questions, right? But what is that interview? That's not the same thing as you asking another person. You interviewed him, the person who is being accused of these things that we have seen, some of the things that he's done. That's totally different than interviewing another person about the accused that you're talking about. Now, if you had Kobe up there when he was alive, you could have asked that question. I'm sure he would have given you an answer.
Or not.
Or not. Or not. Maybe off camera. He would have given you an answer.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you've been around him. You said that. You admitted it. So if you've been around him, and you and him, you know each other, then it's nothing to say, well, yo, we want to get an interview with you, you know, can we get your side or whatever. If he declined the interview, or you can be like off the record that you had opportunity to set that up when he was alive and do that.
That's the point. Right. That's the point. You got off the record if you're the journalist. Right, exactly. You're the journalist, right? So you can ask him off the record and be like, oh, okay. You know, even if you had your own doubts, all right, once he answers your question off the record, all right, that shit is dead. It's over. You start now, when you interview him or anybody else, you ask the other questions. That's not about, you know, that's going to be, especially tainting somebody's legacy. Like, why? But see, I didn't ask anymore because I know what time it is. You know, we both know what time it is. We've been out here a very long time. We've seen the media spin and how it goes down. And like I said, especially in the last 5 to 10 years, we've seen how it's been going down. Like she's in the car with the Me Too movement. Like they're all in cahoots with it. When I say all, I'm saying the black feminists, which she is obviously one. Oprah is another. Like you cannot claim to not be in that movement, and you interview a Russell Simmons. You know, he backed you down because obviously he had people that's in his corner that was able to back you down. He's alive. Michael Jackson, you know, she backed out on her own, but he's dead. And then the person you're interviewing about Michael Jackson was not credible. It's already been put out there that some of these things that she laid out didn't actually go down that way. So why would you try to rebirth some old news for a case that that Michael Jackson was acquitted of? Why would you go there? But here you are, you kicking up dirt on the dead. Then your homegirl, your homie, she kicking up dirt on the dead. What are y'all doing? Like, why would you take that route? But then hanging around you, you got actual alive, sexual abusers that are in your circle.
Mm-hmm.
You got Weinstein. You got the dude that got fired. That worked. Charlie Rosen. Like, you know them. You work with them. Saying you don't interview them.
But the thing is, when they act like they in the case when on occasion, I've seen an occasion when they act over about Weinstein, but her spin on it is totally different. It's like you giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Gail when she was interviewed and asked talking about Charlie Rosen. Same thing. It wasn't this harsh. Where was the where was it saying Charlie has a complicated history? Because now Charlie does, because Charlie's been accused of sexual assault on 8 different women.
Right. And
where's the complicated history on that? Where's the complicated history on talking about? Well, yeah, I known Harvey, but I didn't know what he did in the dark, and I didn't know his history was like that. And no, none of that. You gave a totally political answer.
25 women have come out against Weinstein. 25. 8 against Rosen. But they tap dance on that. That's what Sambos do. Sambos tap dance. And I think, while we're here, I guess, we might as well give people a little history lesson. The Sambo and Uncle Tom, you know what I mean? Like, Uncle Tom didn't help the people either, but he wasn't Sambo. Sambo is going to sell you out, like, straight up. Uncle Tom is just kind of like rigid and conservative, He going to roll with the flow, but he ain't going to sell you out. Sambo going to sell you out and roll with the flow of selling you out. So we quick to call people, well, not we, but Uncle Tom is a common phrase, but, Uncle Tom's Cabin, Uncle Tom was kind of not the hero, but he wasn't the villain. Sambo's the villain. These is female Sambos. Like, they straight up Sambos. Like, how could you think otherwise? Then I was disappointed. I got the video of, Michael Eric Dyson, who's saying that, Gail and Oprah are not our enemies. So, okay, I try to put it in its proper context, because how Michael Eric Dyson is. He try to go deep and subliminal, and he goes all over the place. But the one thing I can say, how could you take that stance that they're not anybody that's trying to demean the legacy of the dead, or put some you throwing dirt on their name, you're an enemy of that person. You're an enemy of the people that loved him. I'm not even talking about his fans. I'm not talking about his fans. I'm talking about his loved ones. Like, his fans, okay, but that's the people that made him the icon that he is. The people, his fans. So, but remember, this man still had he left a wife and children behind. How you gonna sully his name like that? So if you put that out in the media, that's spun for like damn near 5 days. You know, period. Like it's still out there. And then you gonna come on there, you know, the intellectual, you know, Michael Eric Dyson. How you gonna come out and say something like that? They're not the enemy. Then what are they? Anybody that goes against the grain to demean your own people are your enemy. I don't give a shit that they black.
If you don't have, like, my point is always gonna still be, you don't ask the question, they don't got no video to cut. All that shit he was saying.
Yeah, if you don't, yeah, exactly.
He said, I listened to him, I heard it, I listened to the whole thing. You know, you said it. You know, I guess you felt like you was gonna get more support. You was gonna get more support by wearing the Laker hat and saying that you and Kobe were, you know, tight
shit, right?
And all that shit.
That?
But then you spin that shit at the end and say how, you know, Gayle and Oren are the enemy and we gotta stop this cancel culture. I'm like, what the fuck is cancel culture? I'm like, what's that? I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Yeah, you know what that shit.
Yeah, I know what it is, but I'm like,
we know, but still.
But I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, though, she violated, and when you violate, you get dealt with. That's just how the shit goes. No matter what you do, disrespect is met with disrespect. That's just how it is.
Yeah, disrespect is met with anger and a fighting and pushback. So absolutely. So
yeah,
I did peep the Lakers hat though. You know,
some people take the high road. Some people take the high road. Some people did, and they took the high road, and you know. But the thing about it was, what I found interesting, but you know, he's like, well, you know, where was the outrage when the white lady said that? Well, you expect that. You know what I'm saying? You expect that from them. You expect that.
Come on. They have a long history of also lying on black men. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm saying, no, I'm just saying, and even her, and even she got in trouble for that shit she wrote. And it's the same thing about the dude who said his whole family was in the plane. He got suspended from his job.
As you should. Reporting misinformation. Yeah.
But we get Gayle up here talking about she's going to have an intense conversation with CBS. Okay.
But
you ain't lost you ain't lose your job, you ain't get suspended, you ain't get nothing, you know, because these were questions you made up to ask, and you knew that you were going to ask these questions
beforehand.
Beforehand, exactly. These were planned questions that you had. So now for you to turn it around and blame the network is corny. That's just some lame shit. Like, yo, fuck are you doing? Like, now you passing the buck. Hold your responsibility. Hold your shit up. Like, hold your responsibility. If you fucked up, say you fucked up and apologize and move on. You know what I'm saying? And people will forgive you and so forth, whatever. But to sit there and try to pass the buck and say CBS did this, they took a clip out of a whole interview, and fuck that. You asked a question. You planned to ask that question. Right. You knew you was going to ask that.
You planned to ask it, even if Lisa Leslie didn't know you were going to ask it. She handled it with grace and responsibility as well. Like, she held it down. Like, yo, I'm not going to dignify the response that you're trying to get. Like, I'm going to tell you about him. But your point is extremely valid. Like, if you don't ask that question, there is no backlash. You could ask about
no backlash. There's nothing
without bringing up a rape charge. Like,
there's nothing.
Come on,
we don't even. This issue is not. But once again, you know, these are those distraction ploys. Say shit, get people up in uproar while other shit is going on. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, she, you know, you work for a major company. You know, you work for a big boy. So here you go doing that, you know, putting this out there, doing your job. That's how I look at it. You're doing your job. You know, like at the end of the day, him saying, Michael Dyson saying, well, you know, you got to look at the whole totality and basically, you know, what they've done for black people. I'm like, okay.
What have they done?
Like, you know, he said
all the.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys, did you listen to it? Because he was like, you know, I seen Oprah. You know, I was at the lady who used to own Essence or still own Essence, whatever her name is. He's like, we was at something. I was at a function with her, and Oprah stayed and took pictures with like 60 people, and she wanted her to go, but she stayed and gave her picture in her time. I'm like, what the fuck? That got to do with it?
Does that have to do with what they've done for the people?
People, I'm like, you taking pictures? That's the least you can do. They helped build you. That's the least you can do is take a fucking couple pictures with your fans who help contribute to your success. So, you know, his points and all that shit, I'm like, okay, now so you think you're gonna get over because you're gonna start talking with this shit and with the Laker hat on and make sure you talk about how Kobe hugged you and you got it on tape. Man,
yeah, did you like so? I'm like, yo, hold up,
like, what the fuck is that?
I'm like, wait a minute. That's because that's exactly what I thought when I said, okay, all right, you got the Lakers hat on, okay, you got the dad hat on, not even a snapback, you got the dad hat on. Right, so I'm going, okay. Then you start talking about it. Oh, he hugged you for a long time. It's on tape, so y'all was cool and this and that. If y'all was cool, y'all was cool. You don't even need to go into,
exactly.
I got the long hug on tape and this and that. Like, okay, keep it moving, keep talking. But then when you get to the point of, Oprah and she took pictures and she does this for her people, I don't see that. You know, I mean, even in the media, like the media, the whole point of the media is to keep images and narratives out there to persuade people's way of thinking about that person that you make a celebrity or a superstar or whatever. Now, when Oprah was, you know, so when she started on television, you got to understand, like, well, you know, we saw a black woman on television, but her base were Caucasian women. And that's who was in her audience, and that's who she gave out a lot of her gifts to, and they blew her up. They loved Oprah. You know, she was giving out stuff. She was a woman. You know,
middle class America loved Oprah.
Middle America, you know, love Oprah, and that's okay. And you know, she been, but to say that she's done things for her people. Okay, if you want to talk about the school, you know, over in Africa, over there. You know, and they had some issues over there, too, related to, you know, sexual assaults and, you know, things of that nature. Over there, you know, and, you know, she's yet to really make a concrete statement in that regard. So it's kind of like, I don't want to talk about it, but yet over here, your homegirl interviews R. Kelly, who's been he's been in the media for 15, 20 years. And, you know, he's finally being called to the carpet for things that he's done. But you can see that he had some very good fans behind him. You know, he had a child support, $100,000 and change. Somebody paid that shit. Who the fuck does that? Like some random person.
But once again, son, you got to look at it. R. Kelly was on the Oprah show, all kinds of shit. These allegations have been floating for years.
Absolutely.
You had an opportunity to interview him and ask him them questions too.
Wait, well, hold on. Wasn't he interviewed with him and Aaliyah? Weren't they interviewed together? Oh no, that was on BET. So it ain't like, you know, it ain't been out there. Like they were interviewed. The allegations were already out there. Like, how could you sit there and do an interview knowing how old Aaliyah was when you did the interview? And then when you heard that they got married, what the fuck do you think is gonna happen when they get married? What do you think they're doing? Like let's keep it 100. Like, I think married people, like, they have sex and shit. So here's this grown ass man, fucking 14, 15 years older than her, and you know she was young then. But forget all of that. I'm just saying, like, you interviewed him, so you ask the tough questions. All right, everybody want to hear him answer. You know, he fly off the handle. You're not afraid of him. You know, whatever. So they don't mind you bringing him down, per se. I mean, he was there to defend himself, okay? But when you start kicking up dirt on the dead, nah, there ain't no apology. There ain't shit that you can say. And I ain't going to listen to no fucking Michael Eric Dyson, his his spin, if he had came 100% real, like, yo, I know personally that Oprah has done A, B, C, D, E, and all of this, that would have been better than saying the examples that he gave. You know, so as much as I get on the case of people like Tyler Perry and the images that he's put out there in the media, he's not the first to do it, but I would say, you know, in the last 15 years, like, I'm just going with current, you know, examples. You know, he has put out the image, you know, of, you know, a man in a dress and this and that, but that shit is an old narrative. He ain't the first person to do it. And he ain't going to be the last. So, but regardless of all of that, yeah, and yeah, his movies, he does, you know, portray black men as fucked up individuals. I mean, he's trying to get better on that. You know, yeah, Tyler Perry is another piece. But he don't do shit like that. Like, even him, he's not doing shit like that. Like, this is a whole nother level. You kicking up dirt on the dead, and you using black women to do it. That shit angers me. And then, you know, people that support them, they kind of like, they're silent right now. I don't like the silence. If you're going to go to bat for somebody, if you backing them because they're a woman, and or you go on that feminism shit, then why the fuck ain't you standing toe-to-toe with the people who've been fighting against that all these years? Where are you right now? You ain't saying shit. You know, because you got to look at the narrative. Oh, well, you know, bring down the black man. All right, looks like the Me Too, they disappeared after Cosby went to jail. Where the fuck are they right now? Well, I see he's on trial. Where they at? This is what I'm saying. This is the problem. And so, you know, so if Gayle and Oprah, if y'all gonna put yourselves in the front line, you know, especially Gayle, you're a journalist. If you're gonna put yourself in the front line of a movement whose whole goal is to demean the character of black men, and specifically black father. Like, Kobe was a father, okay? He loved his kids. So, you know, I'm just saying, like, that's the goal of the movement. And, you know, I read this article today. I don't know. It was an old one, too. It was about the youngest death penalty inmate. You know, it was a little 14-year-old black kid, you know, shit, way back. And it took 2014, 70 years after he was electrocuted, you know, put to death, the evidence was brought out that said that he didn't do what they said he did. And it's fucked up. Like, they've been killing us. They've been killing our kids for centuries. But you're talking about 1920-something, man. Emmett Till was 1955. Like, they, you know, accused of this, and he didn't even do shit. So I don't give a fuck about what some Caucasian woman says happened, this and that, and you taking the payout money. Or, that's a whole different issue. I understand why people pay money, because they don't want to be dragged through the media like, yo, I ain't even do shit, but I want to get this shit out off my plate.
But that's usually due to, you know, the case is probably civil.
Yes.
So that's the, you know, they, you know, and they sign a release and basically say they never talk about it, and they'll take this money and go away pretty much.
Pretty much.
And if you ain't never, you know, it's a come up. So if you can't, you know, that's just what it is. You know, you basically, it's a legal stick up, because especially if you're a celebrity, because you don't want to keep going back and forth with your name in the media, getting dragged, killing your business, you know, your brand, your sponsorships, your deals, anything you got in the works.
You already been through that, right?
Nobody's gonna want to deal with you. So the quickest way for you to do it is tell your lawyer, yo, let's settle this. The case was dismissed, but some cheese, I believe, was broke off.
Absolutely, and that's usually the case. Even Michael Jackson was found not guilty, but in the civil side, he had to break off some cheese, because you don't want that out there. And like, people can say whatever the fuck they want.
They want us, especially
they can say whatever. Shit. So I think people are missing that point. Like
you in a civil case, you can say all. Yeah,
say whatever the fuck you want to say.
It's not based on. It's just you don't have to. You know, as long as you can get them to believe your side, the celebrity can pay because they're gonna wind up paying. So it's better they tell their lawyers to negotiate a settlement. Negotiate a settlement, get a sign of release, never talk about this shit for 50 years or
shit like that.
Shit, what I mean? Some type of stipulation, some clauses in there saying it's when you can talk about it or when you can release.
Well, you can't talk about it. Like you just can't talk about it. Like you could put that in there.
I mean, some of them in there, but some of them may negotiate to get a deal where they can talk about it in 50 years. Right. You know what I'm saying? So
if you know what, if I ain't do shit, you ain't saying shit. Take your money and get the fuck out of my life, especially if I didn't do anything. But I understand that level of, I don't want my name in the media associated with this bullshit, especially if I didn't do anything.
Exactly, and he's in L.A. He's in the biggest market. At this time he's coming into his own. He's a big attraction. He was on Adidas. At that time he was about to leave Adidas, go to Nike, and he wound up losing that deal because of the pressure from the protesters. So Nike had to drop that deal. And basically, you know what I'm saying? So they had to wait a couple of years down the road before they could sign him when all the smoke blew over.
Took about 2 years. Yeah.
So, I mean, so these were the things, was hurting. He was taking a beating. He was taking a beating publicly. You flying from the playoffs to court, news following you and shit to games.
Word.
Shit was crazy.
It was
a show. So, you know what I mean? This is his life. So at some point you like, just get this shit out of here. I don't even want to be bothered with this shit. Get this out of here. And your lawyers do what they do, what you pay them to do. They're going to go in there and negotiate a settlement. Like, look, this shit out of here. My guy's willing to give you $2 million, walk away. That's the most money you probably ever seen in your life anyway. Sign this release, never talk about it, go away.
And you ain't heard nothing from her.
You ain't heard shit.
You ain't heard one word from her. So what is to be gained from Gayle King going and doing that interview and then you can't backtrack out of that. I don't want to hear no more about that bullshit in terms of, the network chose this clip. You shouldn't have said shit. You shouldn't have asked that dumbass question. Of course the network is going to choose that clip.
Of course.
You know that. You a media veteran.
We avoid that.
You
immediately don't even ask that. You don't even go nowhere near that. Or if you do, if you know that they were close, your question is again, how you've been taking the loss of the great Kobe Bryant, because I know you guys were close friends. Let her tell her shit, how she feel, people want to hear it, tug on those heartstrings, Kobe story, move on.
Right.
And
so that's how you know the agenda.
We go to the next part. We go to the next part of the interview. No, your agenda was to dig because you had a woman up there and there was a case of sexual assault and you wanted to know how her take was on it. So she can say what she felt about that shit and draw and bring that out. So once again, and it backfired. So since it backfired,
it's always going to backfire.
So since it backfired on you, now everybody people that it's damage control. So you got the certain entertainers who's like, fuck that, we ain't fucking with y'all. Especially players, athletes, they looking at that shit.
Hip Hop Nation, basically.
You know what I'm saying? They looking at that shit. But then you got their friends. Then you got their friends and who's big, like the Michael Dysons and the intellects who's gonna come out.
You talking about the Sambos?
Yeah, you can call them, whatever you want to call them, but they're gonna come out.
The Sambo. He's intellectual Sambo.
So they're gonna come out and they're gonna do their part to help with damage control, to make sure that people know that Gayle got supported. We're with you, and even though you got to answer for what you said, for the thing, you got to be held accountable for what you said. But they're still good people, and you got to look at all that shit. You got that rhetoric flying around from him, and so
Steve Harvey.
We already know what he going. We already know what he do, how he do. But the funny shit to me is that I remember when we did a show on, I think it was Monique, when we talked about the Monique situation.
Right.
And we said, and now, Monique told these motherfuckers about these.
That was a year and a half ago.
Monique told them about her.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody blew her off like, nah, fuck out of here. You mad?
Yeah, you bad. You're not a good comedian.
You got
blah, blah,
blah. You got bad attitude. This, that, and that. That type of shit. Here you go again. Here they go again. They just showing you. They just showing you who they are. You know what I'm saying? And it's out there. But people always willing to cover up shit because they like them. Because they done this or they done this. If somebody's done wrong, it's just the bottom line. You did wrong. Listen, if you want to make it right, then you got to go to the people that you done wrong to and make it right. You feel me? Like you can't come out here and tell people like, well, all the things they done, we got to stop. You can't tell people what to do. Do what you do. If that's what you want to do, that's what you do. But the masses don't feel that way. And nobody cares. Kobe hugged a lot of people. He loved a lot of people. And the same people that he loved, they mad as shit.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They mad as shit. They had people that was closer than you. All right? They mad. And they don't need your approval to be mad about, you have a right to be mad. We know they know they do. They know they do. They don't need your permission to be mad, bruh. I don't know, like that's the thing with these bougie Negroes. They start acting like they giving you permission to do the shit that you can do. No, we don't need your permission to be mad. We don't need your permission to be mad. We gonna be who we gonna be. Just because you can quote some Rakim lyrics and some Nas lyrics.
You see where he be going with that. Like, right, you memorize a few albums. Okay, bro.
Yeah, I like
that. Don't make you hip hop.
You ain't telling our story neither. Like we don't need you to tell our story. We don't need you to tell where we come from, how it came,
analyze
how we came
some lyrics
and all that shit. You analyzing, writing books, and getting money off our shit.
That's what
everybody use hip hop to get paid. Everybody using hip hop to get paid. They all do it. I mean, then they turn around and they try to shit on us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean. People like him. Listen, bro, I had already stopped feeling him with a while back. Because he did some real buzzy shit.
Right.
And so because I used to I read a few. I think I read about maybe 2 of his books.
Yeah, me too. I read like 2 or 3 of his books, definitely.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And but then when he was coming out, cause we probably known him from when he was coming in.
First of all,
before he got to where he's at right now.
Let's put some history on it, because we knew Michael Eric Dyson, who he was before. Like, we're talking about 15, 20 years ago. We knew who Michael Eric Dyson was. You're talking about coming in the 2000s when people was like, who is this dude? With the glasses, chubby face, quoting hip-hop lyrics.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, we knew who he was, though. Because we grew up hip-hop. Hip-hop is us. Shit, we older than hip-hop. How about that? So we knew who Michael Eric Dyson was. So when people come in, they come in the right way. You view them as an ally. So over time, you start seeing how people, how they move. We respected his story. He came from a very adverse background. You know what I'm saying? So, but so when you come from that background, when you do that, and then you get to a certain status, and now you want to come from the other angle, like, well, I'm over here. I could see things a little differently now. Maybe you don't see it. You don't have to be condescending, bro. Like, you're educated, man. You're intelligent. Everybody's not stupid. Now, you can't put a bullshit narrative out there and think that people are stupid. Like like Gail, like anybody that's on that side of the equation. If you're one of the uppity, stush, bougie Negroes that's out there, everybody's not stupid. You can't treat everybody like that, but when you put it in the media like that, That's how it comes off. Well, the news did it. The network did it. No. If you don't have that type of questioning, and it doesn't happen. Michael Eric Dyson, it's because you can quote some, I read his book, Holler If You Hear Me. He did a Tupac book. So, it made me look at him a little differently in terms of, all right, so you really went in depth, right? So then I started thinking about this when hip-hop classes started popping up in the Ivy League schools, right? So I'm going, seems like a trend. You want to study our culture, and then, but at the same time, there's another movement to destroy the culture. Like you trying to kill hip hop, you can't. But while you're in there, fuck it. You're gonna make everybody, get hooked on drugs. All right, you're gonna sign them to the slave deals, 360 deals. You're gonna take all their money. You're gonna make them famous, but you ain't gonna give them no money. You're gonna steal the real money, which is the publishing, things of that nature, and then you're gonna have prominent black people to do it. Like Diddy is at the forefront of that. Like you give out slave deals. And now you got people that's mad now, like Mace. You can't get your publishing back until you're 50 years old.
No, he said for 50 years.
For 50 years. Like, it's 50 years. So 50 years. You got to understand, like he signed that deal. I'm going to say that was like 15 years ago.
And he bought it for $20,000, and he offered them $2 million.
He offered you that was the second time around. The $2 million was the second time around when he came back from being a pastor.
He offered him $2 million.
He offered you $2 million.
And he told them if he'll give them if it's more than what some white dude was bidding for it. That's what he said.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
And that was May's words. He said if the white dude, whatever that bid was, if I could beat that bid, I could get it. But if not, I gotta wait 50 years.
See? So what's up? So what type of? See, let's put it like this: if you're gonna give the man back his publishing, then you give it back. But see, that's how a lot of people they don't understand the game. Like that's how people eat. They eat off of the publishing.
Yeah, because they use that shit. Somebody use it. They get paid.
They getting paid. You own it.
They selling it to commercials now and
exactly
all this other shit.
Cut and you group the shit. So if let's put it like this, if it's my label and I own your publishing, everything that you write comes to me because I own it.
Well,
and you don't get shit.
I mean, at the end of the, somebody said on in the group, in one of our groups was, yeah, they got the contract, but they, it's their fault too. Like,
okay, I mean, you got to
because you got to think of. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can look. You got to look. There's a few ways you can look at it, right?
Yeah.
Because you can look at like okay, here you are, and they're blowing your label up, and you thinking you would take care of them, and this, that, and the third. But instead, you was just using the regular bullshit that the regular industry cats did, and was fucking them out of their money.
Right.
Then you can look at it like, well, you should. Here's a 19-year-old kid, so you act, who. I mean, he don't have no business savvy. He don't know contracts. He don't know really nothing. He just know he about to make records. He see you on videos. He know who you are. You fly running around the town, having parties, doing it how you do it, and he want to live that life too. That's all he know. He figuring you from Harlem and Mount Vernon, and we from the town together. So what's up? Let's make it pop. You thinking he got your back, but he don't really love you like that. He just looking you as a check. So that you ain't no good to him no more, you gone. So he tell you right off the deal, yo, look. I'll buy your publishing. I'll give you $20,000. You ain't never had $20,000 before in your pocket. And I always remember what
he could buy your publishing and give you. He could take your publishing and give you $5 million, not knowing that he gonna make $50 million.
Exactly, but he gave him $20,000 back then.
$20,000. Wow.
He gave Big $100.
Yeah, but Big did get $5 million later on. I mean, but his album.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you, that's after he found out how the game ran.
True.
After he found out how the game ran, then you know what I'm saying. But even still, he still owned most of it because when he died, his mom still had to get he had to give it. He had, you know, you know, he wound up giving it to her, but he still had owned it for him to give it to her.
He still owned part of his publishing.
Yeah.
To this day.
Yeah.
He's supposed to give it back though. He's supposed to give it back after. He's supposed to give it back, but then, you know, Big now is going to be going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so I think he'll give it back after that, after those checks, you know, start coming in from that, you know, because I mean it's a wicked game. So this is what I'm saying, like, so he's at the forefront of something. So he's in hip hop. He's at the forefront. He is known for this, you know, but then again, it's not his fault either, because
it's not his fault either.
Because
he learned it from somebody else.
First of all,
and you think that's the way?
Standard is 6 albums. Like
exactly,
it was 6 albums. It's been that for a while. Like that hasn't changed. Like you sign a deal, it was a 6-album deal. You know, now they changed the wording. You know, it's I forgot what they call it now. It's like 7. Like you have I forgot. It's many ways to record now, but you have a 7-piece deal, you know, whatever it is, you know. But see, the industry has changed a little now where they're doing the 360. But you know, it's wicked. But that was the game. So if you wanted to get on, you knew you had to have for 2 things.
Right. I mean, but
you got to read your contract though. Like you know, you want to get on.
I mean, if you were a student of hip hop, then you would know what Q-Tip said on the song when he said industry niggas is shady.
He told you.
He told you that shit. Like, if y'all really listening, like that's the thing. When you ask cats, like they listen to the beat. You listening to the words. You listen to what he said.
He told you.
He tell a lot of cats gave you the game. They tell you get your head. You know what I'm saying? Because they got robbed.
They know.
So they telling you firsthand. Don't let this happen to you. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
read what you're signing.
It's read. You gotta get your own. You gotta get your own lawyer at that time. But you know, this is a dude taking advantage of young dudes coming out the hood. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. So if you're gonna make a statement like that in the public and say, well, you know, record labels is on the clock and we want for you. Well, you on the clock too then.
Word.
You gonna get back? You giving these cats back their money? That's the whole purpose of what Mace was saying. Like, well, if they on the clock, then you and Jay-Z should be on the clock. Like, well,
more Diddy than Jay-Z, because Jay-Z, yeah, he was president of Def Jam for a little bit, but he ain't had a strong hold.
I mean, he had Rockefeller. What you talking about?
I mean, he had Rockefeller, but I mean, that was a partnership. Like, so.
But they still own. They still got cats. They still had cats publishing.
Yeah, true. That is true.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't, I mean, dudes, shit, Jay didn't give his own man. He didn't give Jaz-O a deal till like 2 years ago.
Right. But most of the Rockefeller dudes wasn't mainstream. Bad Boy, all them cats went mainstream just about. So, yeah. I mean, just about anyway. But, so I get it though. In principle, it's the same. You're supposed to, you know, do right by the people, by the artists. But in order to survive in that business, they took on the role of, well, this is how everybody else did it. I'm going to do it this way too. But you shitting on people, because you can't have a $15 project and then give the artist 12 cents off of $1. Like, that's not going to work.
I remember when dudes like, yeah, they getting, the cats was back when we in the 90s, I mean, dudes was getting like 10 cents an album.
That was the standard too.
That was the standard.
10 cents off $1.
I mean, when LL got $1 off of every album?
Got $1 off of a $15 album, and that was a lot.
That was a lot.
Shit, it's a lot today.
Hell yeah.
Cats ain't getting that. Like, you got to understand.
But
like,
they don't even give them kind of deals no more. Now it's all
dead. Yeah, they dead.
They giving all total different kinds of, because albums ain't selling. It's streaming.
But how about this though? LL got his masters, right? Cats wasn't getting their masters. It took a while.
But a lot of dudes didn't even. I mean, a lot of dudes didn't know about that shit. They ain't even know.
You can't even put your own mixtape out of all your albums. You can have 10 albums out. If you don't own your masters, you can't.
That's why they shut down the mixtape shit. because they started they playing all this music and them motherfuckers was like, nah, that's our shit. We ain't tell you we own that music. That's the, you know what I'm saying? We own that music.
We own your
like
music.
that's like when Remy Ma made that song. She did the Ether joint, I believe, on Nicki Minaj.
Right.
And everybody was like, it was off the Nas beat.
Right. Absolutely.
But it was Universal that shut it down because Universal owned that shit. Nas didn't own that music.
Right.
They told, and being that Nicki was on Universal, they shut it down because that hurt their artists. But
to this day, he don't own his masters. Nas don't own that master.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, that showed you right there. Hey, this dude, he couldn't say nay or yay on that. That wasn't his call.
That's kind of scary though, because
exactly. You've been in the game, and you don't own all your masters.
You don't own all your shit, and you've been in the game. And that's I saw an interview that he did. He was talking about Prince, and Prince was like, well, we could do something once you own your masters. Until you own your masters, we can't do anything. And Prince is correct, because if we cut a song together, you are owned by your label. So whatever thing, Universal. So by whatever you do, they're gonna own like your verse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I go to play my song, I can't even have you on it without their permission, because you don't own it.
You don't own it.
That's a big deal. But that's I get it. So
that's why your boy. That's why this boy. That's why. Well, who was that? Jay bought his shits back.
Jay had to buy his. Yeah, you bought it back, and you bought it with interest. You had to.
Yeah,
you had to buy it back.
Mm-hmm.
But then here's the flip side though. Like Reasonable Doubt, that's Jay, Biggs, and Dame.
Yeah,
like,
so he don't have control of that.
He don't have total control of that. But you know, I mean, that's a whole other. But that was your splash hit.
But But he was trying to buy it, but Dame wouldn't. Dame was like, nah,
I'm good. Yep.
I want that.
I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep getting my money off of that because I was a part of that project. Yeah. I would have did the same shit. Especially if we all went in 3 ways. Like, nah, you good. You got all these albums out. You straight.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. You ain't shitting on them. You ain't saying, yo, you can't release this unless you want to be petty and be like, nah, you can't use that cut. You know what I'm saying? Or on the other side of the game, like, you just have people that are out there. It's like this. They're talented. You want to get in the game? You got to sign this 360 right here. You know what I mean? Like back then, back in the days, it was like, all right, you got to give me 6 albums. So not only do you have to give me 6 albums, now I'm getting a 360 deal. You ain't making no money. And then they trying to control the streaming, but it's difficult. Once they figure that part out, the smartest people was back, I'm going to say like 30, 40 years ago. The wording and the contract was albums, CDs, and any other ways of recording. When you throw in shit like that 30, 40 years ago, you looking ahead because it's a digital world. So right now, them streaming cats, they're keeping their bread. Like, that's my masters. I own my masters. I'm getting money off of that.
Yeah, because you can sell it to you in control of your shit. So you're gonna tell Apple or Spotify or Pandora, whoever wants your music. You know what I'm saying? They got a set price, but if you're a big time artist, then you making the price. Like, nah, I'm gonna need such and such every time my shit get played.
Right, I need X amount of dollars coming back to me. We gonna go. Yeah, you charging $2, and I need to get $1 off of that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that's where the negotiating power comes in. But
then they had to make another deal. The cats had to get up because when they started the streaming and shit,
right?
When they started all these streaming companies. So now cats had to. If you don't own it and the labels own it, then their labels going to put them on. They can put them on all this, and they give you a little percentage of whatever it is. Whether it's 20 cents a stream or whatever it is, you gotta. That's why you always be see at the end of the year, cats be like, I had 200 million streams, because whatever that is times whatever their agreement is, that's how much they're going to get the check cut for.
Well, understand this. It's going to be based on the standard. So if the standard is 15 cents, 20 cents, you know, if you got 2 million streams, because you could do the math right now. If I got 2 million streams at 20 cents a stream, I made 400,000.
Yeah. That's a check
right.
that's coming to you.
That's a $400,000 check on 2 million streams at 20 cents a stream.
Yeah,
that's a big dog artist.
Exactly.
Okay.
But then you got dudes who got bigger than that though. Cats got bigger because a lot of these dudes found out going independent and getting their own deal was better than signing with the majors. So those dudes is winning even more.
They winning. If you're talented now and you know the game, you get a legal team, you can go independent because the internet has, you know, enabled that.
Exactly. I mean, well, the streaming companies it has helped that because you can just put your album straight to them,
or create your own. If you have the ability to create a streaming service, you know, or you know, things of that nature. Like I know that's next level, but let's say that's next level. But let's just say you cut a deal with a streaming company, and you know you're gonna get, if you're talented, you're gonna get your bread. But you still have to be savvy enough to understand that, you know, you got to own the stuff that you put out there. Because if you don't own it, then you know it's irrelevant.
That's like,
and so the gatekeepers is killing the game. They kill
the thing with the 360 deal, though. That's the shit where they get money off your merch, your ticket sales, your show money, everything. They get money off of everything you do. They get you a commercial, you gotta pay. They get you know, portion of that. You know, anything you do, they get a portion of.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? If you in a movie, they get a cut out of that. Anything you do on that 360 deal, they get a portion of. They get a cut.
I think that's what people need to understand, is that when somebody owns your material, it's not yours anymore. And when you go to buy it back, you're buying it back with interest. Like there's an interest rate.
It's the interest
and they done made their money. They already made their money.
I mean,
like,
there's a site on the internet where you can actually go in and buy parts of people's masters.
That's fucked up.
That's like it's like a stock. Like you can buy people. They'll sell you parts of a percentage of people's masters for a certain price.
Yo, that's
Some
crazy.
of them has a time limit. Like you can buy it for you can get it for 5 years, and whatever it make up that 5 years, whatever you know what percentage you pay, that's what you make.
Wow. Okay.
Like that. Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of wicked, brother. That's some shit.
That's some shit. Like you can go in there. I was surprised. I did it. I went on I gotta find the site, and I'll let you know because I remember I went on there
because I plan on investing. You know, I
looked at it and I was like,
some masters. Shit.
I was like, yo, how this work? And that was how I was like, but you know, I think it was kind of costly. So I mean, that's just keeping it 100.
Oh, yeah, you know it's gonna cost. But you know, speaking of that, I found this other site. I found a site. I'm gonna look at my phone later, and I'm gonna see it. There are businesses that are out there that are already flourishing, like they're making millions of dollars, and so you can invest in the business, and you not invest, you can buy it. Let's say if you got $40,000, well, this particular company I was thinking of, you can buy this company, buy it. And they give you the template is there. What you have to do to keep the revenue stream flowing. They tell you what you need to do. You don't have to even run it. You don't have to do no day to day. They give you the template and they're selling it to you for you to make money off of it. And this is your cost. $40,000 to buy this $3 million a year company, and they're telling you what it is. It could be, you know, electrical. There's a bunch of Amazon businesses on there, like drop ship companies that you have no idea about because you don't see no commercials. Like they're thriving, you know, a drop ship company and making $5 and $10 million a year, and you know you can buy it for $500,000. You know what I'm saying? But you're gonna make, you know, $5 to $10 million a year. You And it's out there. And so when I'm looking, I had the list because I was looking at all the companies. I was like, shit, this is above my pay grade, but the shit is available. You know, like there's no negotiating there either. Like the price is the price. You know, on surface anyway. You know, $50,000 to get a $1 million business, and you don't got to do anything other than follow the template that's already there. Don't, what do they call that saying? Don't you can't recreate the wheel. You don't have to do that. Like they telling you how they got to this point, and you just keep that shit going. And that's it. Like the game is out there. So if people are teaching you the game, if you got money, you can get into the game. But once you have to make a choice. You want to make money or you want to be famous. They're not the same thing. So if you want to come in the game and be famous, that's Diddy was there with the young people. You know, he was, hey, they wanted to get on because they thought this is how we're going to make our money. Not knowing that the publishing is where you really make the money. You're the composer, you wrote the song, like those are different checks. Like you get different checks for different prices for different checks. An artist can get 12 cents, but a writer can get 40 cents. An executive producer can get 90 cents. You know what I'm saying? So right there, if you did all three, you could add 90, 40, 20, or whatever it is, and now you're not sitting on 12 cents on every dollar. Now you're getting you're getting $1 off of the album, off of the CD. It start adding up. If you're a producer, like I'm talking about you made some of the tracks, you get cuts for that. Like they got a cut for everything. But the biggest chunk is always gonna go to the label head, which I understand. But when somebody offers you, let's put it like that, they're gonna give you $2 million. Understand that you're worth about $8 million. And they're going to make about $80 million on you, regardless. So they're taking the risk on you. It's not a risk. You're the talent. But they're putting up the bread to get the production going because it costs. Put your marketing out there, billboards and advertising, all that shit costs. So they're going to recoup that shit from you. Yeah, you selling. Shit, Biggie went diamond eventually. The album. Like, shit sold 10 million. Shit, so even that album, Life After Death, that shit made $300 million. You got to understand the math here. So yeah, you cut him a check for $5 million before he did Life After Death. All right, you cut him a check for $5 million in advance or whatever. So not only did you recoup the advance, then you could start cutting him, his checks for. But you own his publishing. And you made $300 million in the process. More than that, because that album's still selling.
Shit, all right. So the name of the spot is called Royalty Exchange.
Oh my God.
RoyaltyExchange.com. I mean, them shit is quite costly. I mean, I'm looking at the Alicia Keys. They just had a bid. They was auctioning off Alicia Keys and Jay-Z's State of Mind song. 12 months, the royalties was $32,000. That's what it made in 12 months. $32,000.
What?
Sean Paul, Jason Derulo, and Pitbull, songwriter royalties, made last 12 months. It made $96,000.
Wow.
So they
fucked my head up with that, brother.
So they bidding on these shits and auctioning them shits off. Some of them is term, some of them is for life.
Holy shit! Like here, passive income, uncorrelated yield. So they give you. So they're telling you that you're going to get a 12% return on investment.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn.
So for 12 months, if you put up like this is a country song for royalties over 12 months was $5,000, but they got 2 days left to bid and they selling it for $18,000. Right. So
royalties the last 12 months, royalties 5,003. I'm looking at it. Country and Rock, one of them.
Yeah.
Sean Paul, 18.5. Okay, so you put up 18.5, but in the last 12 months, his song made 96,000. Yo, let me tell you something. This right here, this shit is wicked. This is fucking wicked. Because if you ain't got no bread, you can't even touch this shit.
Nope.
You can't touch it.
You can't even
so,
touch this.
but then now somebody, so this is how shit, you know what? This makes sense now because this is how shit like with that Wu-Tang album came along when the dude bought it for $2 million. He like, you know, shit like, this is the premise behind that. Yo, if you got money,
you got all kinds of songs on here.
Yo, it's all
singles.
I see.
You got Beyonce, Flawless, and more.
Okay, so what does that tell you? So now that you found that site, what does that tell you? That means the songs that's up there is up for sale to invest in because the person don't own it.
Yeah, well, I mean, shit. You got, like I said, they got they got joints up here. They got a Jay-Z and More album going for $18,000. It ain't bringing in that much royalties for the year. Only $1,000. Only $1,200 for the year. For the last
you put up
18
in the last 12 months, but you put up 18 grand. So then with that, you got to play the long game with that.
Yeah.
That's one of those. But
that's not one of those albums where people gonna go out and buy though, neither, because it's not.
Yeah.
You know, so this is a Jay-Z and More. So that means this had nothing to do with him probably.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He either that or he gave it to the label like whatever, y'all can have that. I want these though. You know what I'm saying? Some shit like that. Then you know you got like albums you ain't never even heard of. Like this is a Notorious Big Dr. Dre and More album. It's like a compilation album.
True.
They selling that shit for $86,000, but it's $13,000 a year.
See, that's something like You know what? See, this all right. So now here we are, the two grumpy men, giving out the game, teaching you the game, but also you got to get your money up. You got to get your money up because at the end of the day, you know, royalties are residual income for life. Period. Because the music is perpetual. So as long as it's out there and it can be listened to, it has a value on it. So if you put your money up, you can get it.
So for instance, cats, if you already you done got your crib, you got your cars and everything, you're finally straight, and you got a 401k. And you see an album on here, and you be like, you know what? Okay, so this is gonna net me over, because like I said, some of them are term, or some of them are life, and you find you a joint for life, and you pay $44,000 for it for the life term of it, and it's already at $8,000 every year. So you'll get your money back in 5 years and still keep on making that $8,000 or more for the term of that, for your term. You know what I'm saying? It's a life, so you can leave that to your kids, everybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's that's how it goes. I mean, it's a lot of compilation albums and things like that. But hey, they generate money and they bringing in money, and in a year time, every year you know that this is coming in. That's like you said, passive income.
Right, because you look at the Jay-Z, that auction actually ended. The Jay-Z Alicia Keys.
Yeah, it ended.
But you got to look at it like this.
190.
It ended at $190,000. So you bought it for $190,000
to make. It was already at $32,000.
So it was making $32,000 a year royalties. So thinking long term, you're saying, okay, basically that's 5 years. 5-6 years. So I'm gonna get my money back in 5-6 years. But who knows? Like, this is gonna keep going.
Yeah, because this song was huge.
Yeah,
and this song was so huge was that, and that they use it in commercials and everything. So it can only go up, because I remember I seen a commercial, but I think it was a Verizon or somebody commercial had this song in it.
I'm going to this is just as good as a stock, and I'm glad that you brought it up, You was holding on to that one, brother, because long term. Because you know how we think. We think long term. So knowing what you know about how the game moves, like this is a stock. So you might see something on there like, yo, that shit is hot. You know what I mean? Like anybody, yo, this shit $5,000. You might have $5,000 and get it, and then like, yo, I own that shit, and you don't tell nobody nothing. But but every year, like if it's a hit, like some songs just become hits, and they, you might call them one hit wonders, but